And welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. If you have subscribed to the channel, that's brilliant. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well so that you get notified when every single video does go live. And if you can't watch it live, watch it later on. So, Celtic and Sinisalo starts the game tonight. The Ducks decided to play football. Great stuff. Sinisalo said that he's loving his time at Celtic and he's loving the long-term plan that Celtic have for him. He's been talking to the media saying that he loves being in Scotland and it's quite like being in Finland. Can't be as cold as Finland, surely. And they try to get out. Him and his missus try to get out as much as he can, and he likes Loch Lomond. It's his favourite place, somewhere to get some peace and quiet and get out of Glasgow. He says being in the limelight at Pittodrie tomorrow night. He says, I need to get a little bit used to it. A few more games, people will recognise me. You're in the limelight. It's part and parcel of it. He says, whether I'm 23 or 33, I'll try and prove to be a calm, personal persona and goal. That's a young lad that's thinking he's got a long-term future as number one at Celtic, and Celtic obviously are telling him that he is going to be a long-term number one. With Kasper Schmeichel only having 1 year left in his contract and next season, I think it's absolutely fantastic that we are forward planning in that way, that way. But with the newfound fame that Sinisalo has, how will he perform tonight? And what will the score be tomorrow night? Tomorrow night. Yeah, it's the missus that's coming home tonight. Tomorrow night. I think it's going to be around about. I think it could be a 4-0, 5-0. I think I think that Aberdeen. I think that they're imploding. They're completely imploding. Anyway, is it a dress rehearsal tomorrow night? It will be the fifth meeting of Celtic Aberdeen. Well, it'll be Aberdeen Celtic. Celtic have dominated the fixture this season, and we completely demolished them in the semi-final, and they never recovered. They are in a race for third place with Hibernian, but Celtic are undefeated to Aberdeen since May 2018. Since February 16 at Pittodrie, Celtic have scored something like a crazy amount of goals. But this season, we've scored, 106? Same tally as Brendan Rodgers from his season 2016-2017 when they were invincible, wasn't it? The Dons are undefeated at Pittodrie since the end of January. They are undefeated since the end of January at home, but it's Celtic that has come calling. Will the changes that Brendan Rodgers made tonight, and will Johnny Kenny start the game? Would it be such a surprise? Would it be such a surprise for Celtic if Johnny Kenny did start the game tonight, just to give him a little bit of experience? Because let's face it, he's not going to get much game time when it comes to the final game of the season against St Mirren this weekend. And then when it comes to the final, he might get a few minutes or so. But tonight's really the night. If the Celtic manager is going to change, tomorrow night is the night that the Celtic manager, if he's going to change anything, Brendan Rodgers, he will. Will he start Johnny Kenny? Would you start Johnny Kenny? Tell me in the comments. Would you start Johnny Kenny in place of Adam Ida tomorrow night? We all know that we'll start with the two wingers as per normal, Kuhn and Dyson Maida, and then if need be we'll put good morning Kaiser. He always comes out with the best comments in the morning. Kaiser says Johnny farted in Brendan's cornflakes, that's why he never plays them. Great chat for first thing in the morning, farting in cornflakes. Rangers laughed at us. I've never been so embarrassed. Ian Aberdeen's in the house this morning. Ian, how are you feeling for the game tomorrow night and the final? And yes, I was, when I seen the result coming through at the weekend, I've got to admit I was highly disappointed. in the result. I thought that you might have done a little bit better. Stephen Johnson says yes, give Johnny Kenny a chance. Paul Baird says Johnny Kenny deserves a chance also. I think he does. when we look at the possibilities, we're going to talk about transfers in a couple of minutes. But when you look at the possibility of what could happen this summer, I think we really need to see the young lads and get them a little bit more game time. Gary is talking about the keeper situation. He's a good keeper. Take over the next few years. He's here for the future. Yeah, I was glad to see him talking long term. It's glad to see him talking long term. Can't remember how much of a contract. I think it's a 5-year contract. We got him on, didn't we? So it's good to see that he's everything that Brendan Rodgers wants in a player. And I'm going to say that. Sinisalo is everything that Brendan Rodgers wants in a player, and I tell you why. Because he knows he's not in the first team. He knows he's a young lad, and he knows that Celtic have a plan for him to be the number one goalkeeper for years to come. And I think that that's something that we should want to... morning, Baz, from a mild overcast Kirkcaldy this morning. But it was a wee bit cloudy here at 7:30. I've never looked at the window since. Let's all laugh at the Newco. Yeah, let's laugh at the Newco, Aberdeen. At least, but anyway, we'll digress. Baz, Ida has done well, but Johnny was playing in Europe for Shamrock. He was brought back to play when we punted Kyogo. He deserves... No, he was brought back before Kyogo left, Kaiser. He was brought back before Kyogo left. He was brought back at the beginning of December. So he was always going to be the third choice... He was always going to be the third choice striker. But I think when we sold Kyogo and didn't bring a striker in, I think that, you know, he is only young as well. But if he's going to make it at Celtic, we really need to see if he's got it in him. Maybe Brendan Rodgers is saying, we know what you can do. We'll get the full pre-season in you and then we'll take it from there. Scenarios is coming in from North London. But anyway... Going into tomorrow night's game, there's obviously going to be a few changes. John Beaton on VAR, now that I'm dreading that. Steve McLean as referee. The Celtic team, obviously they'll start with Sinisalo. I'm not going to try and predict anything else because I'll wait till tomorrow night. Obviously Alistair Johnson will come back. Sinisalo, that's about it. Brendan Rodgers could completely change it up in Aberdeen just to give the players a rest before going into the final game. Going into the final game of the season this weekend. And then that's it. We have a week of talking about the cup final, and that's it for another season. Done and dusted. And talking about another season and potentially having another treble, that success has been exceptional. Brendan Rodgers said, when I came in 2016, the treble wasn't mentioned so much. It was just not the thing that happened at all. You know, trebles were very, very hard to come by. But now the players have had success, and from that moment they feel good. They know the expectations at this club. They know the desires of the club and what we want to achieve. In 2016, it had only been done 3 times in the history since 1888. And that is remarkable. It's completely astounding. When you think of the managers that we've had in the past, and some will say managers way better than Brendan Rodgers. When we look at it, Brendan said, what we tried to do in 2016 was level up the professionalism and the mentality and take the club to the next level. Everyone had their true vision of what they wanted to do at the club. Once we achieved that in 2017 in the final, it was a good feeling with that group of players. They were inspired to keep on going. And that started the ball rolling. It's definitely something that's an expectation now at Celtic and the fans, which is incredible when you go on to think, in order to win these 3 competitions over the course of a season and playing European football, to have the level of consistency that Celtic have had since Brendan Rodgers has been around, and Ange Postecoglou, you'll give Ange his little share, and Neil Lennon got in on that as well. Over the course of 9 seasons, the fact that we've been so dominant, Celtic, when it comes to transfers over that period, Celtic have been a little bit cautious, I would say. Now they did go into the the sort of top end of the market for some players. We have spent 9 million on a couple of players, but there's some players over the course of the last 10-15 years that have got away from Celtic, that have went on to have fantastic fees. I mean, did we let go some players far too early in their Celtic careers? When we think of one player that plays for Scotland, that comes from Dundee and now plays in Italy as a defender, did we let him go too early? There's a player that's about to be sold to a club in England this summer. Although Celtic will make 10 million, then that'll be around about 20 million they'll have made from the deal in total. But did we sell him too early? Did we sell Virgil van Dijk too early and too cheap? When you see that Virgil van Dijk ultimately went to Liverpool for 75 million. Celtic have missed out on a big chunk of cash over the years. Whilst we can praise the club and we can praise the way that the club's financially run, the benefit of the Champions League money over the last couple of years is now put us in a trajectory that it's a case that we need to stay in the Champions League. The possibility of not reaching the Champions League next year gives a lot of fans the fear. The transfer market this summer is one of the biggest transfer summers that Brendan Rodgers will have ever had at Celtic. Because it's that important that we get into the Champions League again to maintain the status quo. If we want to maintain the status quo, we need to be a bit more risk averse in the transfer market. Sometimes we hold on to players too long. Sometimes, Greg Taylor, for instance. There was not a selling with Big Virgil. No, there wasn't, was there? We've held on to some players too long and some players we've let go far too quick, in my opinion. Will this be the season? And will this be the end game? Brendan Rodgers did say that this was a monumental time at Celtic a few months back. He said that this was a time like no other. But he also says that it could be a time of change. And it could be a time of change of the guard. Will Celtic cash in? Will they cash in on Rio Hatate, who does have 3 years left on his contract, about a 27-year-old, who has spoken on various occasions about wanting to move to a top team, top 5 league. And with Dyson Maeda coming to the end of this season with only 2 seasons left on his contract, it's rich pickings for anyone who wants to get those players at a reasonably cheap cost when you put in consideration to the transfer fees for players of a similar quality on a European context with a longer contract. It could be the case that this summer, once again, we end up selling our top stars for what could ultimately be a bargain in the sense of the top 5 European leagues. But it is something that will come up this summer, and I just think that it is the end game for some of the players at Celtic. We know this. It is the end game it's the end season for some of them. And not when he went for 75 million, I don't think. Irishman and Porto. I don't think we got 10% when he went for 75 million. If we did, we would have got a crazy amount of money. But no, not that I can't remember. Maybe we did, I can't remember. There's no doubt in my mind, says Paul Beard, Celtic will probably be in profit when the summer transfer window closes regarding buying and selling players. Yeah, but the thing is, if we do sell Rio Hatate for, say, 25 million, 15 to 25 million, whatever the in-between is, and then if we sell Dyson Maeda for roughly about the same, there's going to be 35 million anyway, and with some other players that will be sold this summer, Louis Palma, etc. We could bring in the best part of 40 million. But will Celtic do it before the Champions League qualifier? They have to. If we leave it, if we go down the route that the board has went on so many occasions, The board on so many occasions has waited until Champions League qualification to bring in the players. And if that happens again, I think that there's a massive chance that we will not qualify for the Champions League this season. But we've got a whole summer to go before that, and that's what I'm really going to talk about when it comes to the Champions League qualification, because there is that many things that could happen, really. It's just a nightmare. Just starting even to think about it. So Brendan Rodgers' expectations for this Celtic team will be to go out tomorrow and make some history with regards to scoring as many goals as they can. It is a dress rehearsal, whether you like it or not. It is a dress rehearsal for the Scottish Cup game in just over 2 weeks' time. Going back to the Johnny Kenny question, I think that Johnny Kenny should be given a started slot tonight, just to give him that little opportunity to see what he can do. Bringing him on, that was low economics, yeah. Looking at Johnny Kenny and what he can bring to the team, if he's a player that's going to improve the squad, and if he's a player that's ultimately going to try and become number one striker, surely Brendan needs to try him out this season. Kaiser says, told you Baz, there will be 11 player swing. Maida, Hitati, Kuhn, Taylor, Sloop, Palmer, Welsh, Bain, Kwan, Lager and Rocky. Yeah, I said that weeks ago as well, Lager. Kaiser. Aberdeen is normally a tough fixture. It is. But are this Aberdeen bunch of players in implosion mode? Are they in implosion mode? Anyway, where is Ian Aberdeen? Did he just come in, comment and bugger off again? Would have been good to get his thoughts on what he thinks. Aberdeen away, it's either going to be a really close game or it's Aberdeen away, isn't it? It's a midweek game. It is a midweek game as well. It's usually a 2-1 or something, isn't it? Well, we'll talk about that. Talk about that tonight. Probably score. And in fact, we can't tonight because shit. Because I'll be at the airport. Let me check this time. Yep, I'll be at the airport. Damn. You try and go earlier. We'll go live a bit earlier. Even in Aberdeen, they are imploding. The continued team changes, but no changes in system, is affecting us. It's interesting. Do you think that he's still a good choice of manager for Aberdeen, Ian? Aberdeen are getting hammered by their rubbish. They're in rubbish form. It's a strange. Is the Aberdeen manager basically trying out different players because he's getting ready for a big summer? Ian Aberdeen. Is he making the changes because he's wanting to see really who is the quality? Because this is really his first season, isn't it? Past two seasons, 6-0 at the end of seasons. But let's have a night off, spend it with the missus. I'll be with the airport. I can do a live before I go to the airport. But well, it'll be a tough game. With all the changes expected. I think it'll be a tough game regardless. They always put up a good... And they're taking a big crowd to the final. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a crowd they do have tomorrow night. Just saying. I want to see Bonner and McArdle on the bench brought on tomorrow. That would be a good idea, actually. I mean, I'd like to see McArdle getting some more game time. But ultimately, you know that the two of them are probably going to get loaned out next season. I've got a few decent Aberdeen players. Ian Aberdeen says he doesn't know his best 11, plus the style and system of high press counter play is not good style against Celtic or that other lot. Sounds familiar, that, Ian. It sounds familiar, that. It sounds familiar when we play in Europe. So, yeah. Jimmy won't see Christmas in Aberdeen. I think he will. I think he'll get the goods. Irishman in Port says, with the big striker, my Palestine mates are divided about the final. Going to be flying the flags anyway. 7 goals. 7 goals over the next 2 games against the Sheep. Oof. Flying Column says we need to give the young fellas a chance. I think it could be, you could be right in that. It could be quite a few changes. I'm not expecting any changes from Rodgers. No chance in changing the lineup, says Big Rab B. Don't you think that Brendan will change it up? No, he won't, will he? He's got targets that he's goal scoring targets and things that he's trying to achieve with the club this summer, this season. And I think that he will want to go out all out. With a name like Jimmy, the Sheep can't let him go. Paul Bear says, it's a surprise that the team to play Aberdeen tomorrow night hasn't been leaked by someone. It is a surprise, isn't it, considering all the players know who is playing. So Greg Taylor isn't the leak. Maybe it'll get leaked tomorrow night. Maybe they've been warned. You leak the team and you're out. We will find you. Maybe he does that. I don't know who you are. I have a set of skills. Maybe he does that. Maybe he does the whole taken thing to them in the dressing room. I will find you and I will kill you. Brendan Rodgers fucking getting it loudy in the dressing room. Monty says it's Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Scales, Schlupp, McCowan, Bernardo, McArdle, Forrest, Adam Eden, Kuhn. He said it has been leaked. That's the team. He doesn't say it's been leaked, but he said that's the team. So I'm going to take a note of that. Copy that and notes. Quick note. New notes. Team news. Fuck off. What's up? There, I was taking a note of that team just to see if it is. But anyway, we'll be doing a live an hour and a half before. Big Day says, good morning. The leak is John Kennedy, said Lanky. Let James Forrest on for 90 minutes to score. Yeah, I think we need to. I would have James Forrest playing. For the full 90 minutes. And he scored up in Aberdeen before, hasn't he? Peter Larkin got a ticket for the cup final. Fair play to you. You got your ticket for the cup final. I don't even know when I'm going to watch it yet. I said I might go down to Hoops, but Paddy's Point, but I don't know. I'll wait and see. Because they were just going on a right piss up after the game, but that's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. And so Sinisalo will play tonight. It's interesting that people are talking about the Stephen McCowan and I'm not even going to bother. There's no point. Anyway, right, let's get on to big one needs game time. Jamesy needs some game time. The team will be, Lanky says the team will be Sinisalo, AJ, Martin Orobsky, Scales, Taylor, Callum, Engels, Paulo, Forrest, Maida and Yang. There's every chance it may be that, actually. Lanky, you're probably quite spot on. You've got a leak in Celtic Park, though, don't you? You do have a leak in Celtic Park. that. Right, anyway, I'm going to finish up for this morning because there's something that I need to do before tomorrow. I will be going live roughly around about 5:30 Celtic part time tonight. So make sure you join us for that, where we'll get the preview of the Aberdeen versus Celtic game tomorrow night. That'll be the preview game where we can do predictions and everything then. It's just a quick one this morning, just the 25 minutes. But on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. John, I love it when folk are just coming on when I'm coming off. That didn't sound right, did it? Fuck.